What is going on, guys and girls? It is GhostRobo, and welcome to my video game collection. This video has been requested for a super long time, and I finally got them all in one place, all alphabetized, organized, and put in order by system and by date. So we've got everything from the most recent Xbox One and PlayStation 4 all the way back to some of my first ever video games on the NES. We're going to take a little trip down my video game memory lane and pick out some of my favorites and show you guys what I got. So here we are with the newest consoles. We've got my Xbox One stack and my PlayStation 4 stack, and I have many more of the newer system games because when I was younger, I sold a lot of my stuff to be able to buy new games. I really didn't value collections or anything like that. Even all the way up to Xbox 360, I sold BioShock 1 so I could buy something new, and I sold my entire SNES collection, and I really wish I didn't, but that's kind of how it goes when you're young and don't have a whole lot of capital and money to spend on games, and I bought most of this stuff by myself, probably 95% or above. My parents really didn't like the idea of video games too much, so I ended up buying a lot of it. My own money, mowed lawns, and did all that good stuff to get them. But here we have Xbox One, Battlefield, Call of Duty, Forza, and I have to say that I like these boxes so much for two reasons. One, they're pretty small, which is nice. They're very thin. And I also like how they have the very unified sides, so they all have this sort of silver look on the side. With them, their differentiating logo, I think it's kind of a nice look. PS4, I actually have more of because it came out first, and some of the multi-platform stuff, Need for Speed Rivals, Lego Marvel. I got here Assassin's Creed. We have some duplicates just because of sports games and stuff I wanted to check out on both, but those are decently small. I'm hoping they'll grow. It doesn't seem like there's a whole lot coming out for them right now, but if we move on to the other next gen, current gen, whatever you want to call it, gen system, it's the Wii U. And the Wii U has a pretty small library for being out for over a year. My favorites here are obviously Super Mario 3D World and Zombie U. I think those are the two best games on the platform. I don't have some of my downloadable games, and this is something interesting that I've obviously wrestled with. Should I go all digital? Should I keep physical? I love the fact that you have this collection, and since I started YouTube, I've really been trying to save everything, and I think that's a lot of fun to display, but when you buy stuff digitally like I did with Dead Rising 3 or I did with Pikmin 3, then you have nothing to really show for it. One person on Twitter suggested that why don't they just sell the retail box with a download code inside? I think that's the best of both worlds. You get the cool game case to show off and have in your collection, and then you just get the digital version so it's on your system and nice and easy. But I like these boxes as well. I love how they have a little square picture. I'm not sure if you can see it, but each game has a little, besides the logo on the strip, they have a little square picture that describes it. And I've had a good amount of fun with my Wii U. Nintendo Land has been a favorite of my family's since it came out. And again, Mario and Zombie U are pretty awesome. Moving on to the next system released in the reverse chronicle of gaming here, we have the Vita. And you'll notice that some of these are Japanese, because when the Vita first came out, I was so excited for it that I imported it from Japan to get it a couple months early. That was probably a mistake because I have not really had as much fun with the Vita as I would have liked. It seems like there's more good stuff coming out nowadays, but for me, that system held so much promise and it didn't really deliver fully. Nonetheless, Wipeout is a really great game. I even like the Uncharted. You probably can't tell this is Uncharted, but it is down here. Rayman is good. Persona 4 is really fun. Luminous, while simple, is I think, a great game. Gravity Rush, Hot Shots Golf, you can see the difference between the American version and the Japanese version. Even different color scheme and all sorts of things. So that's kind of cool. And they do have the smallest boxes ever known to man. Some of the cartridges are actually in my Vita case. But that system, man, I really hope that it has a renaissance with the PlayStation 4 and they release some cool stuff. I'm excited to try out Tearaway. I use it more as a downloadable platform, to be honest. Spelunky, Hotline Miami, stuff like that is where it gets most of its use. Now, the 3DS is a handheld, but I think it has really turned the corner and is becoming my go-to and main handheld system that I would play. Typically, I like playing things on the big screen, the home console. I don't really commute or travel that much, but I do like this, especially on the XL. It feels just as good as something like the Vita, or almost as good as a full TV experience. Starting from the top, we've got games like Animal Crossing, Fire Emblem Awakening, Ghost Recon, which I got on launch day. Mario & Luigi Dream Team is a really fun game. I like that. And Mario Kart 7, I think, is one of the best Mario Karts ever released. Sure, it's handheld. Sure, it's got, obviously, a smaller screen and not as clear of graphics as something like the upcoming Mario Kart 8, which also plays awesome. Check that out at E3, and I really loved it. But it's a super fun one nonetheless. Mario Party Island 2 are not so hot. Stuff like Pokemon X and Super Mario 3D Land, Zelda Link Between Two Worlds, or just between worlds in general, Ocarina of Time. I really like these game cases as well, and I really like this system. I'm starting to love it almost as much as I love the Game Boy Advance, which is probably my favorite handheld of all time. Continuing with the Nintendo trend, we have my Wii collection, and I was quite surprised when I gathered all these, that there were as many as there were, because I don't remember playing this many Wii games, but apparently I did. There's a couple missing, I think, that either I sold, lost. I couldn't find Halo Reach anywhere, but this is pretty much all of it. Mario Strikers Charge. This game, freaking fantastic. I love this one a lot. One of my favorite sports games, actually, of all time. I'm a huge NBA 2K fan, like the realistic stuff, but in terms of like more party-based sports games, this is probably the best of the entire bunch. Obviously, got the Mario Galaxies. This game here, I think, is really, really cool as well. Super Mario All-Stars. I'm not sure if it's limited anymore. It was kind of limited when it started off, and it has all the old Mario games. So Mario Bros. 1, 2, 3, Lost Levels. It's sort of the Mario All-Stars SNES compilation, but in Wii format, which I think is cool. And the Wii U is technically the only system that has backwards compatibility, so you can enjoy Super Mario 3D World and something like New Super Mario Bros. Wii on the same system. And I know some people are really down on the Wii and the Wii U, but gosh, I love these guys a lot. I think they're really better than they are told to be, especially the Wii U. The Wii, I was a little bit more shaky on, but the Wii U is super, super fun. Moving on to the second stack here. Boom blocks. Remember when that was a hit? Motion control, throwing those blocks, very strange. They have some of the weirder covers, like I think this game looks like it came from McDonald's or something. Steven Spielberg, like sheep and square monkeys, a little bit odd. Down as we go down, Epic Mickey, a game that I feel never lived up to its promise. GoldenEye 007 is actually pretty fun on the Wii. The graphics aren't so hot, but it's a pretty fun game. And then as we move down, Mario Party 9, worst Mario Party ever. I love Mario Party 1, 2, and 3, and even 4 and 5, but man, 9. Whew. Mario Sports Mix is another big disappointment. Mario Kart Wii, I wasn't the biggest fan of. Down here we have Skyward Sword. I will pull it out for you because I think it has one of the prettiest game cases really ever. Hello. I like the gold case so much. I like the little like foily look. It reminds me of holographic Pokemon cards, which is a great feeling. And I think it's a pretty epic drawing of Link and the logo, and it looks so nice and pretty, and the artwork in that game in general was just really top-notch. You'll notice down here I have 2 copies of the same game. I'm going to pull these out for you because it's Xenoblade Chronicles. The first one is a UK copy, and this one I got before it was out in America and wanted to check it out. It doesn't really look any different, obviously doesn't play any different. Here is an American copy. These are, I think, harder to get. I know it's one of the games that goes for like a stupid amount of money at GameStop, so mine is still sealed in case it ever really boosts in value to the extreme at some point. Just dipping back real fast, I wanted to... Where is it? Oh, I don't think I ever showed any of the PlayStation 4 boxes, so just in case you wanted to see that, there's that, and then we did Vita. Okay. Wait 1 second, I forgot to mention that I had The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess and mysteriously sold it at some point, which was ridiculous. Later down the road, you'll see my GameCube collection. I also sold The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, and the Master Quest thingamabob they put on GameCube, which was awesome, but it was worth so much money at GameStop back then. I could not resist, but know that I did have those games at some point. The Xbox 360 is the system that I have by far the most games from, and it's not because I'm really an Xbox fanboy. I honestly don't care about who made the game as long as it's a super fun, great game, but it's the easiest platform to record on, and like I said, I really started building up my collection once YouTube started, and so that's why all the multi-platform stuff is on Xbox 360. Plus, I love that controller. So, let's take a look at all the fun stuff we have here. There are about 200 and some odd number of them, and I think I'm short Halo Reach, and everything else should be here. But starting from the top, we have Alan Wake, which I think is a game that is a lot better than people really give it any credit for. I love the fact that it sort of tells this living, breathing narrative that you're experiencing as you go. Plus, you can see so many of the landmarks in the game that, like in the beginning, and then you actually get there, which I think is a very cool concept. The Assassin's Creeds are all here. I do not have one. Again, that was back in the era where I sold stuff to get new stuff. But we do have 2, 3. Actually, 2 is missing as well. I do have 2. But 2 and Reach are the 2 games that I could not find. Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. Man, what a strange game. I wanted Banjo Kazooie 3, we ended up getting Nuts and Bolts, which is a strange vehicle builder? I don't know what they were doing there. One of my favorite franchises, though, is the Batman Arkham franchise. Asylum, I think, being the greatest of all. I remember getting this game. It was before YouTube, obviously. Playing it, just some of the longest gaming sessions I had because I thought it was so fantastic, and going through the whole mid chunk of that game in one sitting was just a really, really awesome experience. Ended up 100%ing that one. Going down, I got Battlefield, Bayonetta, a very good game. The sequel coming out for Wii U, which should be fun. Bioshock, I didn't have my original Bioshock, and I ended up getting a crappy GameStop copy, which I feel pretty bad about, and probably one day I should go back and get a real box copy, because that's a nasty one to have in there. Bioshock 2 Infinite with the cool alternate cover. Blur is a game that not a lot of people really, I think, talk too highly about, but it's one of my favorite card games. The Borderlands, this is a Borderlands 2 Steelbox. Pretty cool. Brink, goodness gracious. Going on down, got all the Call of Duties. Catherine, this is a game that I think everybody should play. Well, maybe not everybody, but it's very weird, very odd, but very fun. And I think the puzzle mechanic here of climbing these block towers is just brilliant. Some of the best times I've had with a game that makes you think. Ever. Crackdowns and Crisis. Dance Central, my first Kinect game. That was a very short-lived experience. Playing that for like the first week, and not so much. Now, Dark Souls. This game gave me fits of rage and feelings of pure ecstasy when I did well, because it's one of the most challenging things you will ever play, and yet one of the most rewarding, possibly my favorite walkthrough I've ever done on the channel. Just an epic experience. Cannot wait for the sequel coming out in early 2014. Darksiders, Dead Island. Dead Island's kind of a huge letdown of a game for me. Dead Space 2 and 3. I don't know if these games get enough praise. I think what they do is very excellent. Even the third one is a stellar game. Probably the best shooter of the year, alongside Bioshock Infinite and Last of Us. Although Dead Space focuses more on combat, I feel like, than either of those games. Really, really love these games. They're a nightmare for me to play. I get scared super easy. So both were not the most comfy of experiences, but I'm glad that I definitely went through with it. Deus Ex, interesting game. This is a game that got my channel shut down. Got 3 copyright strikes for no good reason. Diablo, Disney Universe, DJ Hero. These 2 games are actually really fun. I wish I played them more. Peripherals and stuff are just hard to carry around. Duke Nukem Forever might be one of the worst games on the platform. And Devil May Cry from this year is also really good. Let's work it back this way. Over in the corner, we have Skyrim and Fallout, Far Cry and Fear, a random assortment of FIFAs, Forza Fuse. This is another huge letdown, made by the people who did Ratchet and stuff. Insomniac did not like that game at all. The Gears series, GTA, Halos. I really like Halo 4, Steelbox of this. And then that's Halo Wars, which I've never really... I think I played like a mission of. Injustice doesn't have a case because my brother got angry one time and tore it apart, my youngest brother. He left the disc intact because he likes playing the game, but he tore apart the actual game case. So I don't have a case for that. That's why it sits here. Connect Sports, LA Noire, the game that really kicked my channel off and started it, in a really big way. That's sort of where I really got noticed, and people were like, hey, this GhostRobo guy, he's kind of cool. 3 epic discs. I would not mind playing that game again Sunday. I know it had some issues, but I think it's one of the best. Left 4 Dead, these games are so fun. Some great co-op memories with my brother, late nights on little TVs when the Xbox 360 was in its earlier days. We would just play Left 4 Dead and scream and yell. The Lego games, there's more of them than I thought. Lollipop Chainsaw. Almost all the Maddens, don't know where 2009 is. Mass Effect, this Mass Effect 3 has a great story to it. EA shot some copies into the sky, like legit shot them into the sky and had them drop down from space, and I got one of the copies that a guy found in his tree. And then they got them early, so I wanted to be able to cover the game before it came out and stuff, and it's torn apart not because I'm crazy, but because it landed in a tree, and it legit is one of the copies that EA and BioWare shot into space and it floated down. Mirror's Edge, as many of you know, this is a game that I constantly praise for being unique and original. Mortal Kombat, a game that really got me into that franchise, and I never would have thought NetherRealm goes on to make Injustice, which is one of my favorites. NBA 2K, gotta love this franchise, have every year. Probably have 1 or 2 more that I ended up selling. NBA Street, if you're an NBA fan, this is a franchise that died in sort of a sad way. Need for Speeds, Persona 4 Arena, Orange Box, greatest value in gaming. You get Half-Life 2, the full thing, Team Fortress 2, and Portal for the first time. Episode 1 of Half-Life 2 and Episode 2, just a really insane value. I remember getting this and just being so pumped that you got so much gaming, and I played all of it. Rage, man. I wanted Rage to be so good. I waited for it for so long, and I feel like it really didn't live up to the hype. That's a game that got delayed over and over, and it didn't really do it any favors. Red Dead Redemption, possibly my favorite open-world Rockstar game. L.A. Noire might be my favorite Rockstar game. I know that's going against the grain, but I liked Red Dead a lot, too. To the final row, the Resident Evils, of course, Resident Evil 6. I didn't like it so much. Rock Band was fun. That era seems to have come to an end. Let's see, what do we got here? Some Sonic games. Soul Calibur's, Tom Clancy stuff, Spider-Man, SSX. I loved SSX Tricky on the GameCube. This one was okay. I feel like they've just never recaptured that same element of magic that they had in those GameCube, PS2, Xbox days. Super Street Fighter 4. Really liked Street Fighter 4. It got me back into fighting games at a time when I thought I probably wouldn't be interested in them very much longer. Top Spin 2, one of my first Xbox 360 games. You can tell the case is very old. And you'll notice... let's see if we can find a newer game here. Let's just take NBA 2K14. They changed the top bar. It got bigger, less gray, more green. If you can see that difference there. What else do we have? Tomb Raider and Transformers. The Witcher 2, Vanquish, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, another fun fighting game. The two XCOMs, never really dived into these, and I super want to. And ending up with X-Men Destiny, which is in the right order. So X-Men Destiny goes here. And you don't know Jack is our final Xbox 360 game. There are a lot of them, and I know that it looks like there's so much green. I must be a huge Microsoft person, but again, it's because it was easy to record. It's because it was more convenient, and I like the controller better, and that's the system I always had connected. So it has no love lost for Sony, which is what we're moving on to next right here. If we get down to this level, you can see my PlayStation 3 collection. Yes, it is smaller than the Xbox 360, but I have some great exclusives and fun games that I really enjoy. We'll start with this stack, the Bigs, one of the first games I got on PlayStation 3. Demon Souls. When I got this game, I did not understand it. I'm so glad I figured out Dark Souls, but this one, I was like, I don't get the appeal here. Luckily, I gave it a second chance at Dark Souls and really liked it. Final Fantasy 13, man, I remember being so hyped for this. I've always been one of those people, and maybe you are as well, that like gets into the idea of Final Fantasy much more than actually playing it. I think that's my sort of just way of being with RPGs, especially long ones. I really love the idea of them, getting way into them. It seems so great. Oh, epic boss battles, building your characters, and then I never have the time to really dedicate to it truly how I want to play it, and so it sort of falls by the wayside. This game, I wish the battle system was a little different. Massively hyped. I'm still excited for Lightning Returns, the third game in the Lightning trilogy coming out at the beginning of next year. God of War, the God of War saga. I think that this is a great value as well. You get God of War 3 and God of War 2 and God of War 1 and the two PSP games. God of War 3 is actually a really great game that I feel doesn't get talked about as much for the PS3. Everyone focuses on Uncharted and stuff. But God of War 3, I think, is pretty darn great. The Infamous games, Heavy Rain, Eco Shadow Colossus HD Collection, Killzone 3 I really liked. Oh my god, it's so much better than Shadowfall. The Last of Us, of course, being one of my all-time favorites. Little Big Planet, a game that has a lot of charm. I don't know that it has a lot of lasting power. In 10 years, will we really be talking about Little Big Planet? The creation stuff, I feel, kind of didn't really go anywhere. Motorstorm, very fun game. Let's see, PlayStation All-Stars. It's a Super Smash Bros. Clone, done pretty well. I think it's better than most people think, and me and my brothers have had a great time with it. Resistance 3, I gotta bring this one out. One of my favorite box arts on the whole table, and a game that gets no love and is actually a really fun shooter. I think that the weapon variety and just sort of the level design here is pretty darn stellar. It's better than something like Killzone Shadowfall, better than most Call of Duty single-player campaigns, Battlefield, stuff like that. I really enjoyed this one. If you haven't ever played it and you have a PS3, it's super worth checking out and has some fun, good boss encounters. Tales of Xillia, the Uncharted's down below, and Yakuza 4, which I always wanted to play and never really have. Alright, we're getting farther and farther back in time here with the DS. DS is when I started really, I think, getting into gaming pretty hardcore. Great system. The first one was a mess. The DS Fat, remember that thing? Compare that to the 3DS XL, and it's crazy how much their design has improved. It almost seems like just they went on drugs or something for a year. Because the Game Boy Advance, greatly designed. SP, greatly designed. XL, I don't know. The first iteration of the DS and 3DS are kind of troublesome. We got some really good games here. Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars. China Wars would be a really different game. Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow, some Ace Attorney stuff. I sold a lot of my DS games, so I had like the original Phoenix Wright and stuff like that. But as we go down, there's some really cool stuff here. I really like this game here, Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks. I don't think they're as good as sort of like Minish Cap and or Link Between Worlds, but pretty fun. New Super Mario Bros. I thought was quite the fun one for DS. One of the first times you got to play this kind of Mario, or in this style, and that was pretty cool. P-Cross, Pie-Cross, whatever you call it, Cross 3D. Great game. It seems so dumb, but it's actually really enjoyable. Let's see. We've got our Pokemons, Professor Layton's, and Yoshi's Island DS. I think Yoshi's Island is a really, really good game. The one on Super Nintendo. People feel differently, but Yoshi's Island DS, I think, lost a little bit of the perfection. A game that I wish I still had for DS is Super Princess Peach. I really like that game. It's so weird and crazy. Playing with her emotions to progress through levels was a pretty cool time. The PSP, a system that I didn't really ever get into all that much, but there were a few gems. Dissidia Final Fantasy is, I think, a really fun fighting game. It seems really goofy at first, but the battle system is really cool and it has an awesome cover. Let's see, the God of War games were always great on PSP. Really fun, had some great time with this. Loco Roco 2. Cool story behind this one. My mom imported it for me from Australia for Christmas one year. Great game, got it early, and it was just a blast to play. I think it kind of epitomizes joy and fun in games like a Mario or something like that in a really cool way. Metal Gear Acid. This is a really cool Metal Gear game. I like Metal Gear Solid 4 a lot. I like most of the games in the series, actually. I'm looking forward to 5 and all that. But this one, very unique take. It's a card battling system strategy. Very cool art design, sort of cel-shaded, and a very fun game. I liked it better than Peace Walker. Patapon, Persona, Ratchet & Clank, Rock Band Unplugged. This is a game that seems like it'd be no fun, but it actually is. Pressing the buttons in time with the music was pretty darn cool. Getting rid of the handheld stuff. We have now the Xbox. Now, I know I had more games than this for the Xbox, but again, this was the era of selling everything to Hollywood Video or Game Rush or whatever the places were called. Burnout 3 Takedown. Remember buying this game and feeling very stressed because I spent a lot of money and didn't tell my mom about it. Psychonauts, one of my favorite games of all time. Please play this game. It still holds up today. It's fantastic. I'm just going to set it up there so you can look at it the whole time because it's that good. Made by Double Fine, Tim Schafer. A really inventive platformer that does a lot of things right and has a fantastically crazy and funny story. Sega Soccer Slam, another gem of a sports game, more of a party-style game, but countless hours of fun with my friends and with my brothers on that one. Moving on to GameCube, I really liked the GameCube. I was there on launch day. I remember going to the Cube Club. If any of you went there, let me know. It was like a pre-release event where you could play all the GameCube games, Luigi's Mansion, Smash Bros, Monkey Ball. Sadly, I don't have Monkey Ball, which is one of my first games I got for the system, but my very first game, I'll pull out here for you, was Star Wars Rogue Squadron 3. No, that's not it. I don't even have it. I thought I had it. Well, this is the sequel to the game that I got first, so we'll show it to you. Rogue Squadron 2 is the first game I got with the system. I walked into Toys R Us at like 6 in the morning, got Rogue Squadron 2 in a purple GameCube, and this is not that game. It's a sequel. I'm going to put it under the table because that's kind of shameful. I don't have any of the stuff it launched with. Dang it. But I do have some really good stuff. Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. I remember reading about this for months in Nintendo Power, being so excited for it. Donkey Konga, a weird game with bongo drums, and people being like mediocrely happy on the cover. They don't even look that excited. Mario Superstar Baseball, my baby brother Noah's favorite game when he was little. Such an epic time. What else we got? Mario Kart Double Dash. Me and my middle brother played through this all the time. He got to ride in the back and throw the items. I got to do the driving. Mega Man Anniversary Collection, cool game. Metroid Prime, what would start off a very cool franchise, and I wish they would make one for Wii U. Super Mario Sunshine. I think Super Mario Sunshine is one of the weirder Mario covers. I don't know. It looks like it's like a knockoff or something, but it's a very hard game. Surprising for Mario. Super Smash Bros. Melee. Probably poured 562 hours into this. Swingers Golf and Beautiful Joe. That wraps up the GameCube, and then closing out the era for me is the PlayStation 2. I got my order of this. So I got GameCube, PS2, then Xbox. So, Kingdom Hearts 2, Final Fantasy X. I had some really great memories of Final Fantasy X. Never beat the game, but my cousin had it. I was like, whoa. And And so I got it a few years later and really enjoyed it. Persona 4 here again, Final Fantasy 12. Got this for my birthday. I didn't really like the combat. I didn't know much about it. The internet wasn't as popular back then. Reviews were not as detailed. You couldn't watch as many videos. And I was like, why is it MMO combat? Okami, Soul Calibur, Star Ocean, Virtual Fighter. Virtual Fighter, that's a... If you like... I don't know. I don't like Virtual Fighter. And let's see. Guitar Hero. This is where I first played Guitar Hero and DDR. I had DDR pads. They weren't hard ones. They were soft ones, but still a lot of fun. And I remember... I'm so embarrassed about this now, but I remember being really, like, proud of myself, like, Mom, come watch me, I can do this song on hard, and, like, demoing my DDR skills. What was I thinking? What was I doing? Did it at Christmas time, so it was in front of the rest of my family as well. But I had a PS2 for a while. I sold it for an Xbox to a guy at Blockbuster. He was, like, my friend there. I was probably, I don't know, 11 or 12 years old, and I would go in there and talk about games, and I knew so much about games from reading stuff and whatever that we would talk about, oh, what games should you get? And one day, I was just like, what are good games for Xbox? And we were talking about KOTOR and stuff like that. And he's like, well, I have an Xbox, and I'm looking for a PS2. And I was like, I have a PS2. And so he was probably, I don't know, 18, 19, something like that. And we picked him up from his apartment because it was raining and drove him to work, and we made the swap. And then I took alcohol swabs and wiped it down because I was like, I don't know where this guy has been with his Xbox. And so that was a weird experience. But that's how I got my Xbox. And Halo 2 and somewhere. What happened to some of my games? I don't even know. I'm thinking of games I had. I don't even know where they went. Someone ate them. Probably my dog. Halo 1, Halo 2. I have them. Unless I don't. Maybe I sold them. There's, again, a lot of stuff I sold, which I wish I didn't, because this collection would be much more epic and would tell a lot more of my history if I actually got all the games. But let's go to the real back end of history here and jump up to the fantastic section of the old games. We'll move this so we can get a good look at all the fun stuff we have here, starting up top with the Dreamcast. Dreamcast, what a system. Lasted, what, 2 years? A year and a half? I don't know. I got one on launch day. Dumb mistake. Choo Choo Rocket is probably the crown jewel of that system. I also love Marvel vs. Capcom 1. Countless hours with this. Even my dad played. Walt Disney World Magical Racing Tour. It's a joke of a game, but I love that it goes down the actual rides. I was so obsessed, and still am, with Disney World and stuff, that I wanted this game for a long time. It was decently rare, I believe, because the Dreamcast, you know, fell flat so fast, but I really, that one holds a special. Good old N64, one of the weirdest looking consoles and controllers. I had the lime green one, the DK64 edition, which is missing. I don't know what happened to that game. It's somewhere. I have no idea. Banjo-Tooie, got this one from my uncle. Fun game. Super Mario 64, I definitely held on to this one. You can't lose. One of the greats of all time. This is definitely, I don't know, probably top 3 for me of all time. NBA Jam 99. Who the heck put Keith Van Horn on the cover of a video game? I remember, though, showing my best friend that I could make three-pointers with the controller behind my back, which is an epic skill that everyone should dream of having. But a great system that I had a lot of fun with. And speaking of epic things, let's take a look at the graphics of NHL 99 for the PlayStation 1. Look at those guys. Realism. Good gracious. Okay, but NFL Blitz. This is an amazing game. Back in these days, I would play a lot with my brothers, a lot with my dad even. We had some epic NFL Blitz battles, and I got this game before I got the system. So it's a PlayStation 1 game, and my grandma got it for me for Christmas, and I was like, oh, Grandma, thanks, but I don't have a PlayStation, you dummy. No, I didn't say that, but I just was really confused, and I saw my mom wink at her, and I was like, what's going on? Nonetheless, a few presents later, I opened up and got a PlayStation 1, which was super epic. I had no clue my parents were going to get it for me. The N64 I got for my 10-year-old birthday and kind of thought they probably were going to get it. PS1 had no clue. And got the system with Croc and Crash 2. Crash 2, great game. Been through a lot of wear and tear. Croc, what a game. I don't even think this game supports analog. It does, I guess. One of the first probably that supported analog. But this real special thing about this game is that the discs are black, like a lot of PlayStation 1 games. And it's the only game I ever called a video game help hotline for. So if we open it up and turn to the first page, you'll see right down here it says Game Hints for Croc Legend of the Gobos, hints, tips, and tricks presented by Fox Interactive of Los Angeles, California. Call 1-900-CALL-FOR-FOX. 90 cents per minute. I called that and got some tips on one of the levels, and it did nothing for me, but there was no internet back then. So what was a young GhostRobo supposed to do when he got stuck in the ever-epic Croc Legend of the Gobos? Greatest Hits Collection. I'm glad they don't really do this as much anymore. I think it dilutes the coolness of the game. Like, fine, put a game on sale, but don't brand it with that stripe of sadness. On to one of my favorite systems of all time, the Super NES. What is this one called? It's called Donkey Kong Country Diddy Kong's Quest, and it's one of my favorite games of all time. So much fun with this game. Got this system when I just moved to Michigan. I'd been wanting it for years, and finally got it for Christmas. Me and my brother would play this, and the WWE WrestleMania game, and just so much great fun with this. And Mario Kart. I remember watching my uncle, who introduced me to games. Him and his friends play Mario Kart at his friend's house, and wishing I could play. And soon enough, I did get my own system with Mario Kart, and the ever-classic Super Mario World, and the ever-frustrating Super Empire Strikes Back, Turtles in Time. I loved the Turtles games back then. I watched the show Uniracers. This might be a game that you've never heard of. So epic, it's a thumb killer. It hurts your thumb to death because you're constantly pressing right as hard as you can, but some really epic local multiplayer. Earthworm Jim was a game that I wish I still had, because I had some crazy memories with that. Up here to the last handheld stuff, here's where you can really feel and see the drain of GameStop and FuncoLand. Yes, I did go to them when they were called FuncoLand, and I sold a lot of Game Boy Advance games and Game Boy Color games, but I still retain the epic Pokemon Red, my first ever handheld game. So many fun gaming sessions with this. Took it everywhere with me. I had a awesome teal colored Game Boy Color, and this was so much fun. Donkey Kong Country 3, Metroid Fusion, Mario Golf, and Yoshi's Island, a few that I have left over, but really, my Game Boy Advance collection was pretty decently sizable. I just would sell stuff every time I beat it to get something new. On to the bottom row is the NES. This is my first system. My uncle gave me his. I put a X-Men Beast sticker on the top, and it was forever mine, and forever led me down this path of video games and eventually YouTube. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game. I don't know that I ever beat this game. I probably did eventually, but so many times my mom would be like, you guys have to shut it off. I'd be like, Mom, you can't save! And then I'd be so screwed, which just not fun. Thank God for save games. Kids of today have it way easier. We couldn't save. Me and my brother would get so pissed. And the game that really emphasized that the most was Felix the Cat. Me and my dad were playing Felix the Cat. Phenomenal game, by the way. Loved the cartoon. And I got to the final boss and had to go to preschool. And I was like, I don't want to go. And my mom was like, it's fine, just leave it on. Of course, when I got home, the system had black screened out. It was still on. My mom didn't turn it off or anything. The red light on the NES was on, but the freaking Felix game was gone. And I'm pretty sure I cried hard. Super Mario Bros. And Duck Hunt was my first cart. Little Mermaid was the first game I ever beat. This is a crown jewel of my achievements. I beat the Little Mermaid. It's a very simple game with one screen and then it shifts over to the next screen. But the Ursula boss battle, the Eel boss battle, some good stuff in there. Mickey Mouse Capades, one of the most difficult games ever. This game was made to make babies poke their eyes out because you think it's like Mickey, it's fun, Minnie and Pete, and then you get in it and it's like this evil castle. It's almost like they made the game and then just decided to drop Mickey and Minnie in there. It's crazy difficult and very weird. Tiny Toons Adventures is a very fun game. I ended up rebuying this one later from FuncoLand because I sold it in my epic NES purge of some year when I wanted to get some more Super Nintendo games. I sold all my NES stuff. They wanted to give me a penny for the system, so thank God I didn't do that. I still kept the system, but I lost a lot of my games, like, what's the wrestling game called? I think it's just called NES Wrestling, and Flintstones, and some really fun stuff. This was an era when you would go to Blockbuster and be so excited to see what they had, because you couldn't just go online. You couldn't just find reviews. You couldn't go on a show and see what the top 3 of the week were. You had to go there and mysteriously find Flintstones or Felix the Cat or Little Mermaid. You didn't know what was going to be there, and that was really exciting to go to Toys R Us and pick out games for my birthday, or go to Blockbuster and find stuff to rent. A really cool time in gaming, and one that I'll never forget. It's a different age with the internet and stuff, and it's great, and we have fantastic games and graphics, but there was a little bit of magic back then that I don't think will ever be recaptured, just because we have so much information, so much knowledge on games. Nonetheless, this is my game collection. It's super, super awesome. I'm really, really proud of it. I hope you guys enjoyed this journey through not only my games, but also my gaming history. I hope to build it and build it and build it until one day someone tells me it's ridiculous, in which case I'll tell them, no, it's not, and I'll keep it anyways. I don't think I'll ever get rid of this stuff. I don't see myself being the kind of person that gets married and has kids and throws it all away. I like this stuff, and I hope that I continue that for forever, as long as time goes on. So hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. This has been fun and probably really long. I have no idea how long, but there's a lot of games, and I wanted to go through them in sort of a fun and fresh way with you guys. So thanks so much for watching. This is my game collection. One last pan of it all before it goes back on the shelf, and it looks far more epic in these stacks, I think, than on the shelf. Just something about the stacks, really a cool look. But thank you guys for watching. Hope you're having a fantastic day. I'll probably not do another one of these for a long time because until many more games come out, this won't really change. So here's my game collection video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a fantastic day. Enjoy your weekend. Drink some hot chocolate. Until next time, guys and girls, we will see you all later.